This is Tuesday, June 2nd. There are 36 days until San Diego Comic-Con 2015. Welcome to the SDConCast, the official podcast of the San Diego Comic-Con unofficial blog.
V-A-N-U-H-T-E-E, go. Oh my god, I love live journal and my live journal loves me. Current, it's my current, I love the color scheme between and purple, it looks dreamy. I love all the books I make, a million comics that they make. I love the internet and I love the world.
Hello, I am your host, James Riley, and joining me on the podcast today is my partner in crime, Carrie Dixon, who, hey there, who apparently now every day has to ask, where's all the SDCC news, because that's the trigger for more SDCC news.
It's a problem I'm creating for myself, but it's fine.
And our special guest is Germain Lussier, writer and critic for /film.com.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having me on again. It's kind of crazy, right? I mean, you guys talk about this every week, but I don't get a chance to talk about it too often. We're like a month out from Comic-Con.
Yeah.
It's catching everybody by surprise.
Yeah, it's nuts.
I
look at the schedule, I don't even believe it. I'm like, wait, it can't be that early, but it's that early.
It is.
Yeah.
I know. I'm not about this like super early Comic-Con. It needs to be middle to end of July. Like, that's when it is.
I'm almost looking forward to getting it over with, though. It'll be fun. It'll be great. But just like I'm
that slow build, and now it's like, just happen already.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking about the cold pavement in the back of the convention center, and I'm like, yeah, let's just get it over with. The $300 a night hotel room burning in my pocket as it's empty.
Yeah, trust me, we feel your pain very well.
Yes.
So,
okay.
Let's just get right into this. I mean,
wait, hold on.
Yeah, I think we all know what we're here to talk about, which is
No, hold on.
Comic-Con. Hold on, okay.
Hold on. The SDConCast is brought to you by 3D Light FX, makers of the innovative cordless 3D deco lights. Find the perfect Marvel, Nickelodeon, Hasbro, or Disney light to decorate your or your child's room. And now you can pre-order the brand new Star Wars lights at Target.com, available in Darth Vader, Yoda, or Boba Fett. Visit 3dlightfx.com or our show notes to find out more. Now start.
Now we can start. Okay. So, Germain, I actually really wanted to talk to you because I know last year you had written that article right after the schedule came out that was basically, is Hollywood giving up on Comic-Con?
Mm-hmm.
And in general, when the schedule came out, you weren't overly impressed.
No. But it ended up being a pretty good Comic-Con, considering. I mean, I think the Batman vs. Superman stuff was great and unexpected, frankly. The way the Warner Brothers changed Hall H and just made it so big was incredible. And Marvel was a letdown in that the big news was Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and 98% of the people in that room hadn't seen Guardians of the Galaxy yet.
Right.
So that was a little disappointing. But yeah, I mean, it was better. Like, the announcements that they had were good. Oh, and Christopher Nolan showed up unexpectedly, which I think I called on this podcast that time. Yeah, I mean, but I don't know if the movies that came out of there, some of them are so far down the line. I don't think Guardians was helped by Comic-Con last year, or anything like that. So I don't know if Hollywood. So that's what I'm worried about this year. It's like this year is the year we've been looking at because 2015 is so big. The summer is so big. The winter is so big, and then 16 is a huge again. And with the early Comic-Con, there are still a lot of movies in this summer that they can talk about. So it'll be very curious to see what studios are coming, which are not. I think we already know Marvel isn't coming.
Right.
And I keep hearing that. But I think, and especially because of D23, that throws a wrench into the Disney plans. That's going to be like a month later. They already had Star Wars Celebration. But I've heard that, I think that's the big question everybody's wondering, right? Is Star Wars going to be there? And I've heard unequivocally that they are. I think they'll probably have, it used to be Star Wars Day every Saturday.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they had Steve Sansweet come out and all that stuff, and that was great. And I think they maybe get back to that this year. But I would be very, very surprised if there wasn't a Hall H Star Wars panel. this year.
And that's kind of how we feel. We've been talking internally, and our thought is mostly Marvel's had that Saturday night Hall H for the last couple years. Like, yes, it sounds like Marvel Studios is not going to be there, but I'm not entirely sure that Disney would want to give up that prime spot to WBDC. So why not throw Star Wars in there instead?
Oh, it would be huge, right? They could show some. I mean, Rogue One won't have been showing, but they could announce the cast for that. I mean, they could show a new trailer. They have plenty of stuff to do, plenty of announcements they can make.
Yep.
And D23, I've been to the first two, and Disney only saves announcements for there, but usually they aren't that big. I mean, I think 2 years ago, that was the really great Marvel panel where they announced pretty much all of Phase 2 or a lot of Phase 2, and then they showed the same footage at D23.
Right.
So I don't think I think Disney's looking at D23 as a big thing, but I think they know the Comic-Con just has a much wider spread. And I think that's a great point. I think that probably will be the case, that we will see Star Wars there Saturday night, assuming that TV doesn't take over.
Yeah.
Because you never know. I mean, the Game of Thrones and Walking Dead panels, those kind of things. I mean, every year TV gets bigger and bigger. I think I read on your site that Doctor Who or somebody is already looking like they're going to be in Hall H.
Yeah, well, from what we've heard, Doctor Who is definitely on Thursday in Hall H. But Con Man, which is the Nathan Fillion, Alan Tudyk web show, they actually said they're going to be between Doctor Who and Marvel. So we're assuming that's Marvel TV on Thursday. So it could just be all kinds of TV.
Thursday could be the TV day. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, because it used to be Sunday with the TV day.
Yep.
But now we've also heard that some of the returning shows are going to be on Sunday in Hall H as well, most likely. And so now it looks like maybe they're turning both Thursday and Sunday into TV days.
Again, makes sense. TV is just so huge now,
Yeah.
And I know as somebody who covers movies, I would much rather see the back-to-back stuff and be excited all day, as opposed to, like, when you're spread out, there's like 2 good panels on Saturday, and then you got to sit through the crap in the middle of the day, or you got to sit there all day on Thursday for the one good panel at night, because otherwise you're not getting in.
Right.
So I think that's a good idea, and if that's what they're doing, I mean, it makes sense to me. But Game of Thrones or like Walking Dead are so big, I just don't see them not being on Friday.
Yeah, they've been on Friday for the last few years. It was like it's been Big Bang Theory once with Walking Dead and Game of Thrones, and then Big Bang Theory moved back to Ballroom 20 when it was just the writers only.
Yeah.
And they've done that the last 2 years.
So the combo of Walking Dead and Game of Thrones is basically a mainstay, I think, on Fridays in Hall H. And even if they do move it, I think it's not moving out of Hall H. It just may move days.
Yeah, I mean, so who knows? It could be Thursday, Sunday, and Friday morning, because those 2 shows are sort of the biggest. And then that leaves, like, how many of the studios are going to be there?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I have my list here of movies and studios, and there's a lot of studios there's a couple that I know are coming or that have to come, and there's others that may or may not, but if you know for a fact that they're going to have Star Wars and Batman vs. Superman, how is a Universal, if they bring Crimson Peak or Gem, how is that going to get any press? Why even go? It's true. Like, unless you have something that's crazy. I've talked to a couple people I know who've said to me, I have this movie, and it's a medium movie, with a big star or something. They're like, how do I present this at Comic-Con? Like, how do we make ourselves stand out?
Yeah.
If I have this big star. And it's hard, because you could bring out the star, they can ask questions, they could dress as the character, like maybe like Will Ferrell has done or something. But even that, if it's on a Saturday, will just get buried by those 2, assuming Warner Brothers is in the morning. Plus, I've heard that, and we'll get into a little more specifics, but Fox has more ammo. Yeah, more ammo than anything. I mean, that could be the panel. That that we're going to see a lot of Batman Superman stuff. It's going to be they have to, and they showed stuff last year, and they were still making that movie. So I think that would be huge. Yeah.
Is basically what it's looking like then? Is it's going to be the battle of the big 2 and everybody else?
I think this year
in their wake.
I think this year's the big 3. I think Fox is going to come to bat. I mean, they're at Comic-Con and they have Fantastic Four comes out the next month.
Yep.
Then they have Deadpool, which comes out in February and is already finished filming. And then X-Men Apocalypse, which is next summer, but it's also, I didn't look at the release date. I think it's before Comic-Con.
It is.
All right, well, there you go. And we know what they did with Days of Future Past like 2 years ago, which was amazing. They had an early trailer, the whole cast. Apocalypse's cast is not as big, but still pretty great. And Ryan Reynolds has done great things at Comic-Con with, Green Lantern. And so he obviously knows the audience. So I think, it's hard to estimate how big Deadpool is with the Comic-Con fans. I mean, you just walk on the floor, every booth has Deadpool stuff.
Yeah.
Be it pops, be it backpacks, be it whatever, pillows, everything is Deadpool. That money's just going into Rob Liefeld's pocket all day, and I love him for it. But so I think it's going to be Warner Brothers, Lucasfilm, and Fox are going to be the big ones, and then there's a lot of other movies that could pop in here or there. But if I'm like, and then you have like Lionsgate. It's the final Hunger Games this year.
Yeah.
That's huge. The fans love the Hunger Games at Comic-Con. I don't know. They didn't go for the last one or two ago. They skipped one.
They skipped last year. However, the director was recently asked if he was going to Comic-Con, and his response was basically, well, I'm not really allowed to say, and I haven't actually seen the list of who all is going, but...
All right.
So...
Yeah, it's sort of like they did with The Hobbit last year. They don't need to sell that movie.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they have to appease the fans and be like, I'm sure they'll bring out, here's Jennifer Lawrence, here's Josh Hutcherson, do you think everything? You know what I mean?
Yep.
So that's a big one. So I would assume those four are definitely going to be there. And from there, it gets dicey. Well, actually, Lionsgate also has, and then what's great about them is, they have the Hunger Games, they have their big, superstar, and then they could filter in these other movies. So I expect to see some American Ultra stuff because Kristen Stewart, Jesse Eisenberg's probably going to be there anyway for Warner Brothers. And then The Last Witch Hunter, which is... The
Rock.
No, it's Vin Diesel.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And Vin Diesel, he came out for a Fast movie a couple years back, I think. And so the studios can do that. And so I expect those movies to be there for Lionsgate, and them sort of to probably come in fourth place with their potential slate.
I feel like Allegiant should be there too. To me, last year they brought out the two main stars. They brought out Shailene Woodley and Theo James, I think is his name.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, out for a signing, and I'm like, if you had them both in town, why not throw them up on a Hall H stage? That made no sense to me.
Yeah, well, it's probably the production thing. That movie comes out in March. It'll probably be. I don't know what the production is with it. But yeah, and I didn't go as far to look that up. But at the same time, that's smart. But in recent years, they've also split. Even though Lionsgate and Summit are owned by the same company now, or one owns the other, they sometimes split those. But who knows? You could get a 30-minute Summit panel, and then you get Allegiant in there, different with Warner Brothers, with Lionsgate. But I'm also curious speaking about the big four, right? So if we say Disney's just going to be Star Wars because they have D23 where they can do their Pixar stuff, Marvel's not going to be there, so you just say Star Wars, and you say that Fox is going to be their three big superhero movies. They also have The Martian with the Matt Damon. That's a very good Comic-Con-y movie, and then they're shooting Independence Day 2, which will be out the next year. That might be too early, but those could be sneak in there. I'm still curious about Warner Brothers because Warner Brothers obviously Batman vs Superman, and obviously they'll probably show some Suicide Squad. The movie will be probably done shooting by then, or close to it. They also have a lot of news they could break, talking about casting and directors for all those other movies, and everybody expected that last year, and it didn't happen. So do we assemble the Justice League? Since Marvel's not going to be there this year, to steal that sort of Avengers moment. And then you have Henry Cavill there anyway. They have The Man from U.N.C.L.E. comes out a couple of weeks later. I'd be sure we're probably going to see that. They have all these big Lego movies that are coming out in a couple of years. Yep. They just made the announcement of Eddie Redmayne playing Newt in Fantastic Beasts. That's not coming out until 2017. But if you have a captive audience of 7,000, there for Batman, why not be like, hey, we got this new Harry Potter thing coming that people might not know about? I mean, it seems like a no-brainer. You just bring out Eddie Redmayne, and J.K. Rowling hit the stage in Hall H. Come on. It would be nuts. It would be great.
It would be nuts. It would be very nuts.
That's about the only thing that, in talking about other studios, that's about the only thing they can do to get that buzz is to bring someone who no one has seen before on a Hall H stage.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, years ago when Cowboys and Aliens brought Harrison Ford,
right.
That was just that's like one of my top 3 Hall H moments, if not Comic-Con moments. And it was for a movie I didn't even see. So it's like that one of those smaller movies just has to do something or bring something that people just haven't seen before.
No, totally. And I think Batman, Superman. What could they? Well, they don't need to do much really.
No, bring out the cast, have a panel, show some stuff, and you're done.
Yeah, they don't have to. I mean, they'll definitely do the big wraparound and all that stuff. But I think this year, for Comic-Con, for Star Wars, talking about Harrison Ford, at Star Wars Celebration, they brought out the old cast, the new cast, and then like Hamill and Fisher. If you bring out Ford at Comic-Con, it would be huge. I mean, he's been there now a couple times, but
it's Harrison Ford.
Yeah, every time he'll be there, it would be a massive.
Yeah.
Yes.
But so those are, and then Warner Bros. Also has Pan, they have Point Break. All these are all pretty much real, those are Comic-Con-y movies. So it'll be curious to see if they brand it as Warner Brothers DC or just Warner Brothers. But I have a feeling it's going to be one of those things on the schedule. It just says Warner Brothers 10 to 12, and there's nothing else.
Okay.
That's what we want to talk about.
Yes.
We actually spent some time a few weeks ago talking about what happened last year with those couple of panel listings that had no information until the panel started, and then there was still no information, but the panels happened.
Yeah.
And we basically discussed it and figured out that there is no good that comes of that.
No. And
so, what's your opinion?
I agree. I mean, last year, Paramount was one of the most, I believe.
Yeah.
And everybody knew they were going to do something Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
And I was one who said it would be cool if they brought Interstellar. And then they brought Matthew McConaughey and Christopher Nolan. And that place was 60% empty. Absolutely. And I'm like, if you had said this, that's just a total mismanagement of your buzz.
Yeah.
Totally.
Drives me crazy. Well, and what I keep saying is if you were somebody high up at Paramount and you're looking around that totally empty room, you got to be thinking, like, is Comic-Con even worth my time,
Yeah, I think, totally. And I think that's just because you screw it up. They pay people a lot of money to do, to manage marketing and publicity, and it's not easy, even though we make it sound like it is. I think when it comes to Warner Brothers, they're at a point where we know there's going to be Batman, Superman.
Yeah.
But then put it in there. Like, make a statement. Like, we're bringing the 2 biggest superheroes we got to Comic-Con. What do you got? And if it's on Han Solo, okay, we'll see what happens. But at the same time, I think you have to. And then there's no real hiding Star Wars. If you say Lucasfilm, they're not going to show. I love Rebels, but they're not going to be like, we're going to show you Rebels season 2. It's just not going to happen.
On Saturday in Hall H.
Yeah, it's 6 p.m. Stay for Kevin Smith.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So, and here's something I'm curious about. Last year, they also, a couple of the movie studios, the first year they broke out of Hall H, where Sony had a panel in
Indigo.
Indigo. And I was so excited for that panel because, like, oh man, here we go. We're going to see some Goosebumps stuff. Oh, actually, they showed Goosebumps, but nothing from Pixels. And now Pixels are coming out before Goosebumps.
Yeah.
Which is really weird. So since those 2 movies were there last year, I would expect those movies to show up again, both of them again, and maybe an Indigo. And maybe Indigo's the way to go for a smaller studio, like a Universal, who could bring Crimson Peak or something.
Yeah.
Why
that
go to
would be
Hall
a
H?
mistake, in my opinion. Crimson Peak just has the combo factor of Hiddleston and Del Toro.
If they're there. If they're there. Del Toro will be there. Hiddleston, maybe. And then there's also Cumberbatch dropped out of that movie. But yeah, Hiddleston and Charlie Hunnam, who's huge for them.
I know Jessica Chastain. I mean, it's been a couple months, but last December she actually said in an interview that she would be at Comic-Con this summer. So.
Right. Well, I mean, it makes sense. She's also in The Martian.
Yeah.
So there's that. Yeah, I mean, I don't. I mean, it would make sense for Crimson Peak to be in Hall H, but at the same time, it's just thinking of a studio that probably will be there, that might want to try something new, like going into Indigo. Then it's just a scheduling thing, you know. If they're on Thursday opposite like Doctor Who, huge fan base, there's crossover, but it's not crazy crossover.
Right.
I'd be in Indigo as a movie fan, you know. So.
And part of it is what we see in the TV side with shows like Vikings and Orphan Black, that, you know, 3 years in, Vikings is staying in the same room despite packing that room every single year, apparently because the studio likes the packed room and wants to guarantee that there's no empty seats.
Yeah.
And so putting a movie studio into Indigo Ballroom almost guarantees that.
Yep.
Yeah, I was sitting in the front last year for Sony. I don't know how busy it was. I know that people were just walking in, I think. I don't know if it was like it wasn't it wasn't Hall H, you know. It wasn't a line of people waiting outside. You know, and they had Jack Black and a lot of cool stuff there. So
yeah,
it was probably the scheduling. There was probably something else going on.
Yeah, you're probably
took everyone.
They also have. I mean, Sony potentially could do something Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to by Comic-Con we'll have an actor and a director. You know, so you parade them out. I mean, if you have that, then it's Hall H worthy.
Right.
Because we know Sony knows how to do it. They've done some great stuff with Andrew Garfield in the past, and with the other movies too. I remember one of my favorite Comic-Con moments is the trailer for Spider-Man 3, and I hate that movie, but when you saw that trailer in Hall H and Venom just like went into the camera, the place went ape shit. It was like one of the best things ever. So I mean, again, he's a massive superhero. He's up there with Batman, Superman. So
yeah.
But I don't know if they're thinking that far ahead with the 2017 movie. And really, the only other studio I haven't mentioned is Paramount, who, like we said, screwed up last year. Probably. And I think it starts up. I think and it'll be a week after Terminator Genesis, so they'll be have their tail between their legs most likely at that point, from what I've heard. But I mean, they have.
They've got a couple things.
No, they have a couple things, but a lot of it's a little further down the road. Like, I mean, Mission Impossible 5, but Tom Cruise isn't coming to Comic-Con. It's just not going to happen. And that movie doesn't need to come to Comic-Con. That's just a much broader movie. They have Scouts vs. Zombies, which is a very Comic-Con movie, but no stars. It would be one of those things that I don't know if it's worth having a panel, because they could show a trailer and blow everyone away and get a lot of buzz, but at the same time, if the movie doesn't have that, there's no reason to spend any money.
Yeah. There's the second Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, though. Yeah,
absolutely. That's one that's shooting, and they could bring. Zoolander 2 is almost done shooting, and Star Trek 3 will be ready to go. So they have options, but at the same time, those three movies, I think Turtles 2 will be out before the next Comic-Con. I think actually Zoolander will too, but
they're both
like February, right, or something. So, but I think a lot of the studios want the immediate gratification of, like we have a movie like Fox having Fantastic Four immediately coming out the next month.
I know for a fact Maze Runner will be there, so that comes out in September. So.
There you go. And then, so that's another thing that Fox can do. Is that Fox? Yeah, it's Fox.
Yeah, it's Fox.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I really do think Fox is going to be a really big panel this year.
I think so too.
I think people are going to be talking.
I mean, it's just the fact that they have like 20 movies that they could bring, and it would make total sense. Like, yeah, I agree. I think Fox has the potential to be even bigger than Warner Brothers.
Yeah, they do. I mean, and somebody is pointing out in the Q&A that Cruise was there for Edge of Tomorrow. I love Edge of Tomorrow. I didn't even remember him being there for Edge of Tomorrow, so there's that. Yeah, was he there or not? I don't. The studio doesn't care. The studio.
I have photos, and it was awesome, but Edge of Tomorrow, which everybody just kind of dismissed when it came out.
Yeah, exactly, and shouldn't have. Obviously, they did that wrong. But yeah, you brought Tom Cruise, and I didn't even remember that. So the Comic-Con is about those moments. Like, we remember Harrison Ford coming for Cowboys and Aliens, and Venom for Spider-Man 3, two crap movies, but those movies, or Snakes on a Plane was a great Comic-Con panel.
Yeah.
You know, like so. You got to form these moments. So I'm trying to think.
Yeah, and if you're talking about those moments and talking about Fox, I think they're the ones who have the lead chance at having that happen.
Yeah.
And I think it's resting. It's probably going to happen with the Deadpool, just because of, as you mentioned, the popularity and how Ryan Reynolds is basically like the marketing department for this movie right now.
Yes.
And he's just doing such an awesome job.
You put Ryan Reynolds out on that stage in a Deadpool costume, like the audience is gonna go bananas.
Oh yeah, I mean, you have like 3 people come out, and one of them is Ryan Reynolds or something. They could do so much. They'll definitely have a trailer. It'll be so Comic-Con specific. They'll probably shoot it down there. It'll be sort of like they did with the Spider-Man thing.
Yeah.
I mean, if Fox isn't like if they haven't been rolling with this like while that movie was shooting, like they're just crazy because
based on all of the marketing so far, I think they're pretty set for it. If they're going to be there, they're bringing something awesome.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. And like I said, that's the one movie I think, and then you throw Fantastic Four and X-Men on there too. That's really that's Warner Brothers competition level. I mean, those are massive Marvel heroes, you know, really big. And then, but then, can anything beat a late night Saturday Star Wars trailer?
No.
No. Exactly. I mean, last year I said, I think here or just other places, if they had just shown Mark Hamill talking to screen, hey, we'll be there soon, like it would have been the best thing of the whole entire year. But at the end of the Marvel panel, when they're like, hey, we have our friends in London, I freaked out because they were shooting episode 7 in London. I was like, this is it, Pete! I grabbed my boss and like all excited. And then it was like, hey, it's Chris Pratt, and nobody cared, you know, in July of last year. Now it's like the biggest thing ever.
Yeah.
But
I cared because I think I had seen the movie by that point.
I had seen the movie too. It was a bit of a letdown. Well, that's because I don't know if you guys have reported this. I'm sure you have, but Marvel wanted last year the big event they did in LA where they announced all of Phase 3. That was their Comic-Con panel last year.
I heard that.
They wanted, I've heard it from Feige. I've heard it from a bunch of people now. They wanted to do that, but they said contract disputes, aka Downey wanting to get his deal right for Civil War, and I think they had sort of a Robert Downey's in and Robert Downey's out plan, and until they had that set, they couldn't move forward.
Yeah.
And personally, I'm really glad. They didn't do that last year because my mind would have exploded with the amount of articles I had to do. It exploded. I was in New York. It was in LA. It was actually about 3 blocks from where I'm sitting right now, and I was out of town that day. So I was home in New York, where I grew up, and so they were doing the panel, and my colleagues were in there, and I was sitting on the computer on Twitter, and my boss was just tweeting stuff. He'd be like, Black Panther 2017, and I'm like, what the hell? And I'm writing these things up and posting. And it was like the craziest hour of my life, work-wise. And I mean, if we were in Comic-Con with the terrible Wi-Fi and crowd going crazy, it would have been terrible. So I think it actually worked out for them. Plus, they dominated the news. Yeah, that's true.
It didn't work out for me because I had a ticket for that and couldn't make it.
Yeah. That's your own fault, Dave.
Yeah, I know.
I was upset, but like I said, it worked out work-wise that I wasn't there. But if that would have been a Comic-Con panel, that would have been
pretty crazy.
Yeah, but and the other thing I think there are people probably upset about Marvel. I mean, Civil War is shooting now, so they would technically have Civil War stuff, and Doctor Strange will be ready to go, so they could always bring Cumberbatch out and show some stuff. But I think they know they have to sort of top themselves every year, and this year they just can't,
Yeah.
And I think Civil War is going to have a lot of surprises and a lot of big things, and they're not. I mean, they'll have footage, but it won't be finished, and it might be a little bit too difficult than what they did with Guardians 2 years ago. Maybe they want to keep it more of a surprise. So people worried about Marvel not being there. I mean, you shouldn't be worried. I mean, maybe definitely a little disappointed, but they'll be at D23, and they'll just show a couple little things there, and it won't be as good as Comic-Con. And then they'll be back next year, and they'll have the cast of Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and they'll have Doctor Strange footage, and they'll have Black Panther, and it'll be crazy good again.
Well, do you think next year, if they do come back, that they'll be switching off with Star Wars in opposite years, or do you think next year we could be looking at both, or?
That's a good question. But next year we'll have seen Episode 7, and it'll be Rogue One, and Rogue One obviously will be highly anticipated, but it won't be even close to Episode 7 or Episode 8.
Right.
Until we've seen an anthology film, I don't know if anybody's going to be as crazy for them. So I think there's no D23 next year, and there's no, I don't know, no, there is a Star Wars Celebration.
But it's,
yeah, but it's in Europe, so.
Yeah.
Yes, in Europe, so it doesn't count. I just thought of something. But, yeah, no, totally. So I think they do both. Why not? Do both. I mean, I think if you're them, why not? You know, you have the ammunition, just shoot it. But that would be interesting. I mean, we're obviously who knows at that point, and who knows if Star Wars is going to take that late spot. But I think the smart money is that. I think Carrie nailed it.
Yeah.
Well, like we just keep saying, I mean, I just cannot see Disney/Marvel being like, yeah, that's cool, we're not going. Let's just let Warner Brothers and DC have that prime spot. I just don't see that happening.
No.
Yeah, you can't give up that slot.
No.
And Warner Brothers has coveted that spot for 6 years now.
Sure. I mean, their morning spot is good. I mean, it gets the line in there. It packs the place up. It's good for everybody the rest of the day. I'm sure Hollywood likes that spot, and they like having them bookended because nobody leaves that room.
Yeah.
I mean, people camp out 2 days now for Saturday.
I think there was less than 500 people that left the room last year.
Really?
That's insane.
That's just nuts. Yeah, and I think the line started Friday, right? I mean, not Friday. I mean, like Thursday.
It started Thursday.
Yeah, people in the back were like, "No, we're here for Saturday." And I remember hearing that, and just my entire life force coming out of me, like being like, "Really, guys? Please stop doing this." I want to beg the Comic-Con fans, please don't line up. If we all don't line up, we all feel better about ourselves. Never happened.
Never happened.
No, I think those days have long since passed.
It's over. Yeah, it's like saying please let us use filthy language again. It's just never gonna happen.
No, it's not. Okay, so I wanted to take the three other questions. So M. Nelson over in the chat asked about some of the family films. He asked, do you think this year will be family film dominated with the Peanuts movie, Hotel Transylvania 2, Goosebumps, and Pan? What do you think?
I think no. I mean, I mentioned Goosebumps and Pan. Yeah. I think those will. Pan is a time thing because it's Warner Brothers. If Fox brings Hugh Jackman for X-Men, I don't even know if he's officially in that or not. But then maybe he'd be there. Peanuts is Sony, and the other three are all Sony. If Sony has a panel, why not? I mean, you could do those very, very well. And I mean, that could definitely be an Indigo too, because then families could bring their kids there and not have to worry about camping out all night. For those, I think there's definitely a good shot. But at the same time, I think we're at a point now where the Comic-Con movies are aged to the 18 to 35 or the 18 to 45, to the geek who has money and is out of high school and can go to the movies and can spend time on Netflix. I think Comic-Con's really focused at them. I think if I had kids and I brought them to Comic-Con, the last thing I'd do is start bringing them to panels. It's just too much stress, to get into these things. So, but I guess, you could sell the parents on those movies. I don't know. I think Sony will put them in there. I actually think Pan will not be there because Warner Brothers has too much else to do and it's just going to get buried. But if Sony has a panel, I expect those to be there, sure.
I actually think Peanuts has a decent shot of being there, even if Sony didn't bring it, because it's made by Blue Sky Studios as well. And last year they had their own booth on the floor, which I was kind of shocked by. But they had their own whole Peanuts booth.
And Peanuts has a general large presence at Comic-Con pretty much every year in toys and other things. So
Oh, absolutely. I think that's another way the studios can do it, and they have been, is, foregoing the panel and doing something on the floor, doing the viral stuff outside, events, things like that. Last year, Days of Future Past, or 2 years ago, they brought the Sentinel head outside and things of that nature outside of the Hard Rock, and that got a bunch of articles about the photos and stuff. And So there's definitely other ways for studios to do things. So even if you don't have a Hall H panel, you can have a booth that with all they could be showing a new Peanuts trailer the entire time and giving out free posters, and that's a lot cheaper than a Hall H panel. And you don't have to worry about getting buried because a Hall H panel is really all you're getting is the social media aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting the buzz out of it, where at least on the floor, people are taking photos, people are dropping your poster on the floor even. We'll get like 10 more people to see it before it gets thrown out, where in Hall H, if they show a Peanuts trailer, people might really like it, but then they follow it with the next thing and you've already forgot.
Right.
So I think the floor presence is also a smart thing to do. It's not as gratifying. You're not going to get the headlines with it, but it probably works for a smaller movie or medium-sized movie.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Questions here?
This other one from M. Nelson. Let me select this one. Do you think it is the timeline of the industry is changing the emphasis of the con? TV's priming for a new season. Movies are too far away with trailers for the big movies already showing in theaters. So is the actual time of things what's causing a bit of a shift and making TV bigger at the con?
Well, definitely on the fact of Walking Dead, because that starts in like October every year. This year, Game of Thrones will be done, and they won't have a new season probably for a year. And I think that's probably what happened last year. So in the case of those two shows, I know definitely for The Walking Dead, but for the movies, it's definitely true. And in TV, though, TV time is kind of weird now because now you have not every show starts in the fall. You have your fall shows. You have like the Legends of Tomorrow, the new DC show starting mid-season. Shows like Gotham or whatever might be off for like 6 months and then come back, and then they could be on all year with little breaks in them. I don't think Gotham is, but.
And not to mention the Netflix that just drops the entire season at once.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's another thing. I mean, you mentioned Marvel TV. That would be. I mean, does that mean if they have a panel on Thursday? I guess that's Jessica Jones. I guess that's Luke Cage.
We don't know. I mean, is that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter, or is it Marvel and Netflix? Like, who knows?
That's interesting. And but yeah, the Netflix shows are like that. And then, but yeah, because trying to think. Jessica Jones will definitely be out by the end of the year, so that would be something that would be interesting. And that's been shooting, so they could definitely show some stuff there.
Well, and I feel like considering Daredevil got renewed, honestly, they could even just bring out the cast for that again and just
show they could totally they could show sizzle reel from the past season and answer questions. Though I don't know how much they know about the second. I'm sure they're writing the second season by now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're planning on having that out next year, so they have to be doing something with it now.
Yeah. I think everybody said that might be out before, like, we get to Iron Fist or something like that. Yeah.
Well, I hope they come. It's crazy to me that Netflix has never been at Comic-Con.
Yeah, I think now it's just it's there. Well, even today, I didn't actually read the story, but Brian Grazer said that next year they're going to bring back Arrested Development.
Yep.
I mean, I don't think you bring them out this year, but the cast of Arrested Development at Comic-Con would be huge. I mean, that's right in that.
I would go crazy, yeah.
Yeah, that's right in the wheelhouse. I mean, though the problem with that show is you can never get them all together, so getting them all together even for an afternoon is probably difficult.
But
and very costly.
Even if you brought in, like, half of them, like, people like me would still go crazy.
I would, too. I would love it. I mean, I guess one of the things I was thinking with the Warner Bros. Panel is how don't you do something like an early teaser for Lego Batman?
Yeah.
People go crazy. They've been working on that. Will Arnett said he's seen stuff. Lord Miller said they've seen stuff. I mean, that would be crazy. That would be, and they could pass it off as like a Batman versus Superman thing, where you think it's like Batman versus Superman or Suicide Squad, and then it's Will Arnett as Batman. That would be great.
It'd be awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
Well, this is anything else, guys, or what do you think?
I think the last question really is there anything that we expect besides Marvel to take a pass this year that normally would be something you'd be like, oh, they're coming?
Yeah. I think I would not be surprised if Paramount took a pass.
Especially after last year.
After their debacle of having such a good panel and wasting it last year. Though both those movies did very, very well. Ninja Turtles is a huge, huge hit, and Interstellar was a huge hit. And how much was that because of Comic-Con? You can't say, you know. But I still expect them not to be there. And like I think D23 is going to cut out all the other stuff. But I mean, it would be crazy, and I think there's a chance that Universal will be there. I mean, I used to Jessica Chastain, but I've talked to people who worked on Gem, and they're not sure what's going on with that. They don't know if it is or isn't. I think that would be that movie after the trailer came out got killed, so it'd be a great place to sort of win some fans back. I think I had a conversation with somebody who said, "Why don't you bring the band out and have them perform a song?" Nobody's ever done that at Comic-Con.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Yeah, you know, it's going to be difficult logistically, but at the same time, very, very cool. And but if you, I mean, what else they have? They could do.
They've got Warcraft.
Do Warcraft that comes out, but that got bumped out to next summer. But it's June, so it'll be before next Comic-Con.
They've brought it twice already too. So
yes, that's true. Yeah, and Duncan Jones loves it. Yeah, no, I love those movies. It's like, here's the third time at Comic-Con.
Universal would be an odd one to skip considering their partnership with Legendary now, right?
And Legendary had the panel last year, and they announced the Godzilla 2, which won't be out for like ever. But their big movie is Crimson Peak, but then also Jurassic World, which will already be out.
Right.
Though if that's a hit, it could be the place to announce a sequel.
Right.
And I mean, it's going to be a hit. It's just a matter of if people want to see more of it, you know.
I just don't want to see what happened last year, where was Box Trolls Universal?
No, Focus.
Yeah.
Focus.
Yeah.
Just don't want that. At this point, with the way that they do the panels on Saturday now, where like Warner Brothers has those 2 hours, and it's like 10 to 30 minutes per movie, having Box Trolls with that hour of Q&A, it just felt like it was too long now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's brutal.
And so bringing one movie for 1 hour now seems like it's just, you know, why are you doing this? You know, give us the good stuff. Let us ask, you know, 5 questions, and then move on to the next one. Bring 2 or 3 movies.
Unless that one movie happens to be Star Wars.
Unless it's Star Wars.
Yeah, unless it's Star Wars or Batman or Deadpool or something like that, where the people can get super geeky. But the thing is, with Star Wars, that to me would be the biggest thing they could do. I mean, they could show a new trailer. They could bring out Harrison Ford. If you let the fans ask J.J. Abrams questions or Kathleen Kennedy questions, they haven't done that yet. They haven't let the fans interact with them. They're very, very hands-off with that kind of stuff. And they've been good with their social media, I think, Star Wars, and it's getting better. And as we get closer to the movie, it'll get better and better with their stuff. But I think that would be, to me, the biggest thing they could do is let the fans have at them. And they can't answer most of the questions, you know, because it'll be plot questions, it'll be stuff. But I think JJ is a master at talking around stuff, and you know, he'd be very, very able to talk around questions and give fans hints. And Kathleen Kennedy could answer questions about the direction of the series and, you know, things of that nature, future casting, future movies. Like, to me, that's the thing that, besides a trailer, that Disney and Star Wars could do to really put it over the top. Because then, I mean, for me, like when I'm writing up something, half the time the best information comes from those questions, because they're just giving you what they want when they do their presentation. And, you know, I mean, I think 20% of the questions at Comic-Con are crap, but in the last couple of years, they've been pretty good. I mean, people are smart. People know if I'm getting up there in front of 7,000 people, I better not have something stupid to say. So I've been pretty impressed of late, and I think Star Wars fans would probably line up on Thursday to get a chance to ask J.J. Abrams a question about the direction of the series.
I am sure they would line up on Thursday.
So it's not really Comic-Con related, but while I have you here, I want to ask this question.
Sure.
How do you feel about Kathleen Kennedy basically being in charge of Star Wars?
I love it, man. I watch so many movies. I rewatched a lot of movies from our childhood, and she did all of them. Like, she was on everything, you know? She worked with Steven Spielberg since she was like 20 years old. She's been in touch with all these people, and she didn't work on any Star Wars movies. That's true, but she worked with Lucas, and I think she's great. And I think what's great about her is that she admittedly doesn't know a lot about it, but she knows that she's in charge of something that that the younger generation is incredibly passionate about. So you hire J.J. Abrams, you hire Rian Johnson, you hire Gareth Edwards, you hire these people who grew up like obsessed with Star Wars. So I think that's what she's doing right, is letting the fans who grew up with Star Wars be part of Star Wars. And that's something that George Lucas never did, was give other people access to his toys. And now she's letting the cool kids play with the toys. And to me, that's what is very, very exciting. Yeah, I mean, like, one of the great moments of celebration was when Gareth Edwards showed us pictures of his 30th birthday, and he said all he wanted to do for his 30th birthday was go to Tunisia and take photos on the set of the original Star Wars. And this was way before he got to do a Star Wars movie. Like, that's how big a fan he was. Now he's making that. Like, that movie's going to be great. Like, how is it not great if he's such a fan? And I think Abrams, I mean, I think that's the same thing. Rian Johnson, the same thing. And whoever they get to do the next one and the next one after that. You know, be it Jon Favreau or Matthew Vaughn or whatever other names we're hearing. You know, Josh Trank dropped out, but I'm sure he was a fan. Like, to me, Kathleen Kennedy is doing it the right way. She hired these people, like the story group, to make it all cohesive. You know, she's delegating like a boss should, and yeah, I'm a big fan, obviously.
Good. Yeah, I'm really really happy with what direction they're heading.
Yeah, me too. I can't wait. I'm very excited.
We are too. And we're hopeful for a really good Comic-Con this year. So
it'll be crazy as usual.
It always is.
Yeah, and thank you both again for having me on. This is so much fun. I love talking about this stuff. I love that you guys have this podcast. It's so niche and great, and that like you can nerd out about like concrete in the back of a thing. That's just the best. Like, you guys get it. You get me. I love it.
We do.
Yeah, we get it.
I know you do. I know.
We know that concrete well. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Germain.
All right. Thank you so much, Carrie.
Yes, thank you,
James. And I'll see you guys in San Diego.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds great.
Have a good one.
Perfect. All right.
Awesome.
Well, that was fun. I'm
Yes.
excited.
Yeah. It's all Star Wars all the time now. For the next like 7 months, that's all it's about now.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm glad that he said, like, he unequivocally had heard that it was coming. Because, I mean, we've been hearing rumblings for a very long time. Like, Variety said that there was some, like, going to be some nebulous kind of appearance, and we've heard some other things, and, yeah, that's just always good to hear. We're very excited. Okay, I'm going to take this question from M. Nelson. Last year, Disney had a Big Hero 6 panel in a tiny room disguised as an art panel. Do you think they will try this hidden panel idea again? Yes. Unequivocally, yes. They've been doing this for like 2 years at not only San Diego, but at WonderCon as well. So I'm pretty sure we'll be getting, oh God, what's their new one? Zootopia? That's the next one, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll be getting an Art of Zootopia panel. So basically, if you want to see the new Disney animated movie, head to whatever teeny tiny little room they throw that in.
Yep.
All right.
I
Well,
should have put that up, didn't I?
That's okay. I selected it. Shall we move on to the news?
Yes. Let's get through this news because there was a ton of it this week.
Oh my God! It all hit.
It's dropping, and it seems continuous because every day Carrie is asking that question, and every day there's more. So if everyone thinks there's just too much news right now,
it's all my fault. All of it. Absolutely all of it. Well, it's true, though, because, like, yesterday it was nonstop, and then today we had, like, next to nothing until, like, 3 or 4 p.m.?
Everybody has to recover from the day before. And it's like, all right, let's put the stuff out now. We got it together. All right, push it out. And then they all do it at the same time.
No, they don't. And I'm Central Time, so I'm like, come on, people. Carrie has to drive home.
All right.
All right.
Okay, so what we're going to start out with is there was more exclusives announcements, as you would expect. So I'm going to start out with the big one this week was Mattel, which went on sale for the Eternia members first yesterday and then to general sales today. They had announced not the last one, I think, but the last one that was going on sale the last 2 days, the Hot Wheels Marvel Secret Wars character 3-pack.
Yeah, that got announced on Saturday or Sunday or something along those lines.
And so that was the last one before the sale that was announced, but apparently there may be one more coming.
2 more. There's two more coming on June 9th. One of them is going to be a Mega Bloks item. The other one is Boomco. I have no idea what either of those exclusives are going to be, but they will be on sale on June 9th. So there you go.
And of course, as expected, the Monster High and the... Did both of them sell out today?
No, only the Villain 2-pack for Monster High. The vinyl Nefera, she's actually still available, so you can go grab her right now for $20.
And the Ever After?
The Ever After one sold out. That was the only one that sold out in the Club Eternia pre-sale.
Okay. So Mattel is one of the big ones, and they had their sale, and there's stuff that's still available. So if you want to get it and go pick it up at Comic-Con, obviously you can do that now. And then there's the 2 more coming, and then they're done. And then if you didn't get it, obviously your chance is either, if you're going to Comic-Con, brave the lines in the early, however early it is this year that you have to go to try, and the after sale, because they do hold stuff for after the event. They will likely have a little bit available. So try for that.
Yeah. And then I just wanted to go over real quick some of the rules for Mattel. So just so everybody's clear, you can only pick up Thursday through Saturday. And so if you only have a Sunday badge, like, don't even order these. It's pointless. It's literally pointless.
Because you're not going to get it.
Because what's going to happen on Sunday is because you didn't pick it up by 7 p.m. on Saturday, they will actually just take what you bought and sell it to somebody else. So
now, what if? Now? Are they the ones who had to pick up at the booth, or did they have off-site pickup?
This is an off-site pickup. This is at the Marriott San Diego Hotel and Marina in the Torrey Pines room.
And did you need to have your badge to go pick it up that day?
That I don't know. My suggestion would be to try.
So if you do have a Sunday only badge and you've bought it, then yes, go and try and get it anyway.
Yeah. If you are literally only in town for Sunday though, don't even do this.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
What else happened, James?
What else happened? Square Enix announced an exclusive as well. Let me get that one up here. This one is the Batman Arkham Knight Play Arts Kai Batman limited color version. It's $100, and it's going to be shipped. It's not even a pickup at the con. So it looks really awesome.
Nobody seems super excited about this one, from what I've seen on social media.
It's really expensive. It's really cool looking, but it's just another one of those, hey, we're announcing it for Comic-Con, but it's not actually Comic-Con exclusive. So,
Yeah.
But it looks cool.
It looks cool, but no, and that's what people keep saying. I think the price point is what's causing a lot of people to...
How big is it?
I don't know.
It doesn't even say how big it is, but it's it's posable. It comes with lots of accessories.
Cape looks cool.
Yeah.
That's my
it just looks really cool, but I don't know about the $100, and I don't know about it's just a figure you can order online and get after the con, so it's not really a Comic-Con exclusive.
Yeah.
So if it's your thing, you Batman collector, or you collect the Square Enix toys, then there you go. Awesomeness. And then finally, we have Factory Entertainment started releasing their exclusives. They did a bit of a little teaser first, and showed they did a contest on Facebook, right?
Yes.
And basically they had outlines of their exclusives, and you had to try and guess them. And if you guess them, you may win. So the first one they announced on the 28th was the Archer head pillow, limited to 500 pieces, sells for $30. You can pre-order it now, or wait and pick it up at the convention at their booth. And then the second one they announced, which was announced yesterday, was the Direwolf Cubs 6-inch plush box set, also $30, limited to 1,500 pieces. And it's the 3 Cubs, Ghost, Nymeria, and Grey Wind. And those things are awful cute.
And people seem really excited about those. And we may be partnering with Factory Entertainment on some stuff for you guys soon. So keep an eye out for that. But They'll be continuing to announce all of their exclusives up through June 12th is the final one. And basically what they've done is they've showed off little outlines of all their exclusives except for the very last one, which is a surprise. So, cool.
Mm-hmm.
However, go ahead.
No, go ahead. However,
exclusives are definitely not the only thing that happened this week.
Nuh-uh.
No, we had a bazillion panel announcements. So we talked about this a little bit earlier, but let's just start with the first one that happened. Doctor Who is going to be moving over to Hall H on Thursday. We don't know a time yet, but if Conman had their times right, it should put it somewhere around like 2:20 p.m. So that's cool. Yeah, sounds right to me too. So what does this mean? Does this mean that all the Sunday TV shows are moving over to Thursday in Hall H? What does it mean? Well, then we had another announcement. The Hollywood Reporter is reporting that Vikings is back on, I believe it's Friday, right?
Room 6A?
Yeah, it's room 6A at 3:30. I just don't remember what day.
Probably Friday. I think that's what it was last year.
Yes, Friday at 3:30. But then they also announced The Strain is going to be on Sunday. And they didn't give a room, but it was over in Hall H last year. And I would not at all be surprised if it was in Hall H again this year. So basically what that means is it looks like what we talked about earlier. It looks like there's going to be some really big TV, possibly even all 4 days in Hall H. I mean,
I don't think Saturday. But
I think so?
I don't think so. But we don't know. I mean, it was all movies and the Women Kick Ass panel in Hall H on Saturday, and I just don't see that changing.
I think that's true. So 3 out of 4 days then, it looks like we could be looking at some pretty big TV over in Hall H. So the biggest announcements for panels this week was obviously Fox TV. There's a whole bunch of things that are coming back from all of the Fox animation shows like American Dad, Family Guy, Simpsons, all that. Sleepy Hollow is going to be back. All those kind of shows. And then there's also a couple of new shows, including Scream Queens, which is the new Ryan Murphy show. It's got Lea Michele, Emma Roberts, all those lovely people. And then Minority Report. Actually, let's go back to Scream Queens for a second. Scream Queens is actually going to have 2 panels. One is just going to be a world premiere screening that happens at some point on Saturday. It's not going to be one of those where you watch the pilot and then you have a Q&A afterwards. I was told it's solely the screening. But then they are doing a panel that's split with American Horror Story. And there's a whole bunch of people that are going to be there for that. It's Jamie Lee Curtis, Emma Roberts, Lea Michele, Kathy Bates, Angela Bassett, Sarah Paulson, Evan Peters, Matt Bomer. Like, that's going to be a huge panel.
Sounds like.
Yeah, it's going to be insane. And it actually sounds really cool. So, real quick, I wanted to hit on, I've seen a couple people asking where the other FX shows, since American Horror Story is in this. FX normally announces their own panels. I'm pretty sure the only reason American Horror Story even worked its way into this is because of it's a joint panel with Scream Queens.
Right.
So for all those people who are wondering like where Archer is and where, I don't even know, what else does FX even have?
Always
anymore?
Sunny, or is that done now?
That's still on, but The Strain, like we said, we know for a fact The Strain is coming, but that's not in this announcement. So I wouldn't worry too much about that because, like I said, FX normally does their own announcements, so don't freak out. But they are also bringing Minority Report, which is the new show that's based on the 2002 Steven Spielberg film. And they're bringing Stark Sands, Megan Good, and then some other people. So there'll actually be a screening and a Q&A for that one. So you'll get to watch that, which is cool. They're bringing Damien, which is based on The Omen, and the big news about that is they're bringing out Merlin's Bradley James, which a lot of people seem very excited about. So there's some other things that are also in that Fox announcement. Border Town, which is a new animated show. The Last Man on Earth is going to be there with Will Forte, Kristen Shaw, and Chris Miller. And so, just like we were talking about, if WB does decide to bring some of the Lego movies, hey, you've got one of the directors there. Salem will be back. Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll, which is a new FX comedy, they'll be there. The two things that won't be there are Bones will not be there this year, it looks like. And then the one I'm really surprised about, honestly, is the X-Files.
Right.
I was at Fan Expo Dallas this last weekend, and Gillian Anderson said that they start filming this week. So they would have even had footage. So it's crazy to me that like they're not coming out. It's the X-Files. Like, how do you not bring that to Comic-Con?
Unless they're trying to be really sneaky.
It's possible. And I mean, if the X-Files had not been TV Guide's random panel 2 years ago, that is where I would think it would have wound up. But considering they just did that 2 years ago, I just don't see TV Guide being like, and here's the X-Files again. Again. So, I don't know. I mean, yeah, Fox could always sneak it in, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I think this pretty much just means no X-Files.
It's kind of weird.
It's my opinion. I'm not too happy with it, but that's my opinion. Hannibal is going to be back again this year. We don't know who's coming at all, but they'll be back. And then we got confirmation that Heroes Reborn is going to be back as well, which it was kind of funny when I emailed the NBC rep. She was like, yeah, we had it in the app back in April. We're having a panel. And I'm like, oh, you think that was confirmation that you're having a panel? Okay.
It just said we're going. It was like the picture was like
at Comic-Con this summer.
Comic-Con.
Yeah, I know.
But what's coming?
I know, but she was like, yeah, we already announced that ages ago, and I'm like, oh, okay, sure you did. So
I'm sorry, but we cannot take that as actual announcement. We have to have like actual words used.
Yeah, pretty much.
We don't like to say, hey, look, there's going to be a panel and an offsite. It's like, no, you have to tell us there's going to be a panel and an offsite.
Pretty much, yeah. So, but they will be back this year. I haven't heard anything about the offsite, but I will be shocked if the Tin Fish is not somehow Heroes Reborn branded this year. Like, it's
been NBC for years.
Yeah, and they don't have that much else. I mean, unless they do Blacklist again, I don't see it being Grimm.
Hasn't it changed almost every year for the last few years, though?
Yeah, but that's what I mean. I mean, like, I feel like it has to be Heroes Reborn.
So that's the one that it would be this year.
Yeah, I think so too.
They've always brought heroes to Comic-Con in huge fashion, so I don't see them not doing something big on the floor, on an offsite, and a panel.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, let's be realistic here. Zachary Levi is going to be at the panel. I mean, I think it's going to be Friday because Conman said that Alan Tudyk is hosting over at Nerd HQ on Friday, and I bet you anything that that's because he will be busy having a panel of his own across the street and doing press.
Yep.
So that's my guess.
And if they want it to put it in with the other TV, that means it's going to be in the same room. If they want it in Hall H, that's the same day that the last few years has been The Walking Dead and Game of Thrones. And if they add it to that, no?
I think it'll be Ballroom 20. I think it'll be Ballroom 20 all the way.
All right.
So that's
we'll see. I'm not saying it's going to be Hall H, but I'm just saying if it got added to Hall H, that would make for a big TV day, even bigger than it is now.
My vote goes to Ballroom 20.
All right, you're probably
right.
That's
where my vote goes to.
You're usually right.
Hey, panels are my thing. Like I know nothing about exclusives. I just write them all. But panels, I am on the ball. All right. Well, let's talk about what else is going on, James.
What else is going on?
We are also 36 days away from something else.
A party?
Maybe.
A themed party at Mission Brewery called Enchantment under the SDCC, our reader party where we get to hang out and chat with everybody and give away cool stuff.
You know what? I think I have actually heard of that party. Sounds fun.
What?
Yeah, Yeah.
is super secret.
I know. Okay, so I think we mentioned this last week, but the shirts have been ordered. We are still waiting on them, but as soon as we get them out, we will be shipping those out to all of you. We're hoping to have those out to you guys by mid-June. We are, even now, still adding prizes for you guys. So Entertainment Earth is going to be giving us a couple prizes. Toddland is going to be giving us a couple things. Wheel of Fine gave us the bags. We have so many things, like I literally have forgotten. I'm forgetting things. I am.
Write them down.
Yeah, I know. But we've got some other cool stuff to give away, don't we, James?
We do. We have Walking Dead escape tickets, where you can be either a walker or a survivor. And that contest is on the website, so you can go check it out. So yeah, that's cool.
It's very cool. And then let's talk a little bit about another offsite, which is the one everybody wants to know more about, Conan O'Brien. As I think the entire Comic-Con community knows at this point, he is going to be filming some shows on July 8th through the 11th. And it's all been pretty quiet so far as to anything.
What's going on?
Yeah, really, anything.
We just know it's happening and we know where.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, late this afternoon, after I asked the dreaded question of where's the Comic-Con news, they threw up on their ticket site, which is 1iota. They threw up the July dates. And here's basically what that tells us. One, the time listed on it says 2:30, so that probably means that's what time they are going to start filming. And so that basically means if you've got something you want to do over at the convention center, you're probably going to have to choose between one or the other, because typically things like this, it's not just like show up at 2:30 and, you know, you can, you're done in 30 minutes. There's a little bit of a time commitment involved. And in fact, they even point blank said, once you do get your tickets on 1iota, you'll basically be emailed this little electronic confirmation. And then from there, the morning of the show that you have a ticket for, you will have to walk to wherever their physical location is. I know they're filming in Spreckles, but I don't know if the ticket place is going to be the same. But from there, you will be handed a physical ticket that will have a seat number on it. And so there's going to be a time commitment in the morning to go pick those up. Who knows how long that's going to take. 1iota also typically oversells their tickets. So be prepared for that.
But if they're giving you an actual seat, are they doing that this time?
Well, but they're not giving you a seat until you pick it up in the morning. And so I think what's probably going to happen is they will oversell the electronic ones, and then there will be more people with electronic confirmations than there are physical tickets.
Sounds like fun.
Doesn't it? Yeah. So that's not my idea of fun, but I know that there are literally thousands of people who are super pumped about this.
Right. And once again, don't have a Thursday, Friday, or Saturday ticket. Guess what you can do? Yeah.
Pretty much. So it's going to be fun. There is a comic book called Pugly that James threw onto this list solely because he knows how much I love pugs.
Yes. And it's the misadventures of a stupid dog who's not so stupid and all the jerks hot on his trail. And it's basically got a pug in it, and that's why it's there. So check it out, because they will have a tease of the new comic at Comic-Con.
Yeah, and here's my pug. This is my pug. For those of you watching live. For those of you listening back, you see no pug.
These are the benefits of watching.
That's right.
So now you know. Right here. Now you know to go onto YouTube if this is afterwards and you want to see that pug. Go look.
And I know you do.
That's right.
All right. Well, speaking of dogs, actually, Mobius Models put out what might actually be my favorite exclusive this year. In fact, I know it is. They they are doing a model of Crypto, the super dog, and it looks awesome. It's based on a model kit from 1965, and so this will actually be the 50th anniversary of that set. But it's got crypto, and then it comes in like a really cool box, and it even comes with like a Superman dog tag that you can put on your actual dog's collar, and it's really reasonably priced. It's $35. It looks gorgeous. And there's a photo of an actual dog modeling the dog tag, which,
And
if any vendors are listening,
there you go.
all Comic-Con exclusives should come with photos of dogs modeling the items.
You'll get premier placement on SDCCblog.com if you have a dog modeling the exclusive.
Yeah, I point blank.
Have that Square Enix Batman, if it was riding a dog, would have been on the front page with like, you need to see this kind of placement.
Yeah, pretty much. And in fact, when Mobius models, he emailed me the info. I emailed him back and I said, if your next one doesn't have a dog on it, it's not going up on the site. Just FYI. So, but it's again, it's really reasonably priced. It's $35. It looks really cool, even if it didn't come with a photo of a dog. But you can email them over at mobius.specials@gmail.com to go pick it up at booth number 2946. So I actually really like this one.
Cool. All right. What else? What all other things we did is we got a discount code for Uber. For if you sign up, just use the code SDCCUblog, and you'll get what is it, the first ride for $20 or $20 off.
It's $20. It's $20 off your first ride.
There you go. And so, for those of you who may want to use it during Comic-Con, this would be a great time to sign up and use that for the first ride on whatever day, like maybe after our party.
Yep.
Something like that.
Or, I mean, we were talking on Twitter earlier with a couple people who were asking us questions about, like Town and Country, picking up their badge. Use Uber instead of a taxi. It's cheaper. You won't have to worry. Like, do that. There
you go. There's plenty of ways you can use it if you never normally use it during Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And then we also have some interesting news. So apparently David Hasselhoff is planning or wanting to perform at Comic-Con this year.
Yes,
for his movie that he's in called Kung Fury.
Yeah, so, the Hawk is coming back.
He's been at Comic-Con at least once before, and
2010.
Come on, he's the Hoff.
He's the Hoff.
So,
well, I told you the story the other day, but I'm gonna tell it again anyway. So my very first day at Comic-Con, first night, we'd been in town for like 5-6 hours, but we had dinner over at the Hard Rock, and as we were leaving, Sarah, our graphic designer, who I just met, grabbed my arm and starts going, "That's David Hasselhoff. That's David Hasselhoff. That's David Hasselhoff." And he heard, and he was walking past, and he looked at us, and he went, "Hello, ladies," which was pretty much like the ultimate Comic-Con moment.
And then you're like, I'm sold. I'm coming to Comic-Con every year.
Yeah, exactly.
Weekend made.
Yeah. Who needs more than David Hasselhoff?
Right.
We added a whole bunch of offsites this week, including the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Agent Carter fan party, which I think basically half of our staff will be at.
Yes.
The Supernatural fan party is also going on, which is the Supernatural Wiki people. Carry On My Wayward Cocktail is the name of that. There's also Zombie Paintball. There's a whole bunch of things. You can find all of that all the time over on our event calendar on our site.
And Entertainment Earth, speaking of the exclusives and such, they also had a couple new announcements. The first one was the Star Trek IV Whales with Spock bobblehead, which was an interesting bobblehead. But it's really cool. It's $20, well, $19.99. The next one was one that we announced, the Adventure Time Traveling Jake Tin Tote gift set, which is $36.99. And finally, today, they announced the Kiss Alive 2 stage with 1/20th scale action figures. It's $159.99. It's a full-on set with the action figures and everything. So if you are interested in any of those, check those out. They are available from Entertainment Earth.
Yep. And then about the only other big thing that kind of happened this week is a fan asked Rose McIver of iZombie if she was going to Comic-Con, and she said yes, she was. So I'm not totally willing to call that like, yes, iZombie is having a panel, but let's be honest, iZombie is having a panel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
we'll just have to wait for the announcement on that.
Yep.
Which we will start and continue to get these kind of panel announcements all the way up until the schedule is released in, I think it's 4 weeks now, the end of June, 4 weeks.
Yeah, I think it starts June 26th. I need to pull up a calendar.
That's just over 3 weeks away.
June 25th. I was one day off. So basically what will happen is Wednesday, Thursday's schedule will start coming out on the 25th, Friday's schedule on the 26th, Saturday's on the 27th, and Sunday's on the 28th. And just like every other year, we will be doing our annual breakdown of the panel schedule, which is basically where we tell you what panels we think are really cool that you might have overlooked. And then for the bigger rooms, we'll also be breaking down for each day kind of the flow of the room. So like what time we think you should line up, what panels we think are going to clear out, all that kind of stuff, just to help you plan your day.
Yep. That's coming in less than a month.
I know.
Ugh.
No more early Comic-Con.
No. Okay, and speaking of prepping and it being 36 days away, we did a couple of articles yesterday, which was what to expect for June and how to prep, and then also more prep stuff with scheduling and creating a spreadsheet to help you plan your entire weekend. And it's one of the things that is almost necessary, and you have to do something because you just can't go into Comic-Con with like, hey, let's see what do we do. If you want to see anything, everything has a schedule, and so you need to plan that schedule. And so check out those articles.
And guys, like seriously, start your spreadsheets now. Even if like you haven't bought tickets to anything, just start putting things that you're interested in on there. And so that way, like when a panel gets announced or an offsite gets announced and you're like, that's great, but does it conflict with anything? You have that information right in front of you.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then next week, we'll be talking with Eric Goldman of IGN about TV. So basically the TV version of today's podcast that we did, and we're going to go over the shows that we have obviously know are going to be there, which ones we think may also be there, or which ones may be skipping, and just a general fun talk about the TV shows of Comic-Con, which basically TV is kind of ruling Comic-Con right now. So,
which I am fine with.
Yes.
So fine with.
Yes.
As always, news bits can be found in our Under the Tits column, and you can also subscribe to our weekly mailing list for a recap of everything that's happened in the last week in the world of Comic-Con news.
And okay, so in closing, be sure to check out our show notes for more information about our sponsor, 3D Light Effects, and their brand new line of Star Wars cordless 3D deco lights. We'd like to say thank you to Germain for stopping by and basically just going over everything about movies with us. You can find him on Twitter at Germain Lussier. That's GermainLeussier. And you can check out his work on slashfilm.com.
And you really should check him out. Like, he's an awesome guy.
Yeah. Although he needs to have better luck buying a Star Wars trading card on the trading card app, because he's been having some bad luck recently.
Yeah, that's all you.
Carrie, where can we find more of your work on the internet?
You can find me over on Twitter at Carrie Dixon. You can also find me manning the blog's Twitter at SD_comic_con. And you can find all of our work over on the website at SDCCblog.com. And James, what about you?
I am on Twitter, Flickr, Tumblr, everywhere, at Dan Riegel. And my website is geekshotphoto.com, which I run with my wife. You can check out our photography there. We are on iTunes. If you'd like to subscribe, the links are up on the blog, or search for SDConCast. If you like what you've heard so far, please review us. We are also on Stitcher Radio. The link is in the show notes. If you want to get a hold of us, you can send us an email at sdcomiccon.blog@gmail.com. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/sdconblog, or tweet us at SD_comic_con. I think that's it.
I think so too. So thanks everybody for listening, and until next week.
Thank you.
Everybody
go shawarma! I'm going to Disneyland now.